me, Mrs. P. Today we are going to learn about Aboriginal Australian artist Queenie McKenzie. I think you're really going to like her artwork. We will need our sketchbook and portfolios. If you don't have one, have your parents message me so I can get you one. Or if you aren't one of my students, check the description below for a link so that you can get your own. You'll also need crayons or color pencils, or you could use both. So go ahead and get your supplies and let's get started. Okay, artists, today we're going to learn about Queenie McKenzie. So as I draw out all the information, you're going to follow along in almost the back of your sketchbook and portfolio. You'll find Queenie McKenzie. So you want to make sure to put your name and today's date. For me right now, today's date is 9/8/2020, but you might be watching this video on a different date, so you need to put what your day is, okay? So, we are learning about Queenie McKenzie. Isn't her name really fun? What word do you see in there? Queen, like a queen and a king. And then her last name has 2 capital letters. Queenie McKenzie. And she is from Australia. Australia is an island, it's a country, and it is a continent. Pretty cool, huh? What is Australia famous for? It's famous for being really hot and for kangaroos. Okay, so we need to go into our book. And we're gonna answer, where was I born? It's like Queenie McKenzie's talking and she's saying, where was I born? And we can put Australia. Okay? Australia. Australia. Okay. So exactly where in Australia was Queenie McKenzie born? She was born on the old Texas station. I see a word in there that makes me think of where I live. Texas. I live in Texas in the United States. So do my students. Do you live in Texas? Old Texas station in East Kimberley, Australia. So that is about right here. I'm going to use the purple. It is about right here on Australia. And right here, this is the Australian flag. I'm going to color it in later. It has all these little stars and one big star. Okay. So, when was Queenie McKenzie born? Let's see. Let's look at our timeline. Remember all the way back in the 1400s. That's when Michelangelo was born, when Leonardo da Vinci was born. Well, Queenie McKenzie was not born that long ago. She wasn't even born in the 1500s, or the 1600s, or the 1700s, or the 1800s. She was born at the beginning of the 1900s. Remember, Mrs. P was born at the end of the 1900s, and you were probably born at the beginning of the 2000s? Well, Queenie McKenzie was born in 1915, about right here, at the beginning of the 1900s. So let's go back into our book, and we're going to put right here, my birthday is 1915. For the month, we're going to put a question mark because nobody knows. She didn't even know. Back then, where she was from, they didn't keep track of things like that. That's okay. Not everybody has to. Okay. Now we're going to learn about what did Queenie McKenzie love to do? What kind of art does she love to make? Well, right here, we have a little picture that looks like one of the pictures in your book. One of the choices. And it is, what is it? This is a paint palette. And there's the hole where your thumb goes. And these are all different colors of paint on the paint palette. And this is a paintbrush. Here's the paint on the paintbrush. Let's fill in some colors. Queenie McKenzie really liked purple, and she really liked pink. She would make her own paint out of clay from the earth that she would find where she was from in Australia. So, what was her favorite way to make art? Let's see. Was it drawing? Was it painting? Was it collage? Was it sculpting? You're right, it was painting. So we're gonna circle painting. You can color that in too, okay? Okay, we are gonna go to our map page in the middle of our sketchbook and portfolio. And we are going to find Australia, where Queenie McKenzie is from. And that is this island, continent, right here. We live all the way here in Texas. Queenie McKenzie was from right here in Australia. So we're gonna draw an arrow, and we're gonna write Queenie McKenzie. Okay? And then we're gonna go to our timeline. Look, Michelangelo was born all the way back then. When was Queenie McKenzie born? Was she born in 2010? No, but you might have been. She was born all the way back here in 1915, so it's gonna be a little bit after the 1900, so maybe right here, 1915. And we're gonna write her name, Queenie McKenzie. Good job. So, now we're done with our little poster. I'm gonna put that on my wall now. Okay, so back to our page. So yours will all be colored in. You filled out where she was born, Australia. Her birthday is, don't know what month or day, but we know it was the year 1915. That was probably 100 years before you were born, about that much. And then she loved to paint. Do you love to paint? Me too. Now we just have one more spot. I am famous for, what was she famous for? She was famous for painting the outdoors of Australia where she lived. Awesome. Queenie McKenzie. She was the first woman from her area to be a famous artist. Isn't that cool? She's really cool. She was a teacher. She taught a language that she spoke, because remember, she's Aborigine. That means that she is native to Australia. She and her ancestors were the first people in Australia, kind of like the Native Americans here in the United States. So I'm going to show you some of her artwork, and you tell me what you think, okay? This is Limestone Hills, Texas by Queenie McKenzie. And of course, it's not the same Texas like the state in the United States that we live in. It's the Texas in Australia. And this is Untitled by Queenie McKenzie. And this is Windbin Waterfall by Queenie McKenzie. What do you think of her artwork? Good job today, artists. See you next time.